Hello, very welcome. This is Care Tech, and today our topic is this is a series of .NET Zero to Hero series, and we covered day one and day two and day three, and the day four we covered the two topics, and we missed some few topics like unit of work, repository pattern, and catching, and uh, with the example of repository pattern, like how it will work. And we missed link you queries with the link you to entities optimization, eager and lazy loading, and as no tracking, and catching we missed, and concurrency handling and transaction conflict handling, return policy we missed these topics. Today we will cover day 4, and tomorrow we will start day 5 session, and after that day 6 and day 7, and this Sunday is a live interview sessions, live one-on-one interview sessions there with our subscribers, like premium subscribers. This is once again, this is KR Tech. If you do not subscribe this channel, please subscribe this channel, and let's get into this video. Like, in the day 3 we covered these two: overall handling of entity framework, what is the entity framework, like code first approach and database approach, and migrations, fluent API versus data annotation we completed. And today we will discuss these concepts. And the first concept is link you to entity queries and optimization, and eager and lazy loading, and no tracking. Let's go to the MS Word. Like, I repeat myself, see, we discussed we discussed this is the link you to entity overview. Link you to entities allows to write a query against the database using C sharp. It translates link you queries to SQL under the hood. Link you to entity allows to write a queries against the database using C sharp. Like, link you queries used to write a queries to the database using C sharp. It translates link you queries to SQL under hood. Like, if you write any link you queries, it translates queries SQL under the hood. Example: this is a link you query using where context equal to new app db context, and where product equal to context dot products, where p tends to p dot price greater than 1000 dot order by p extends to p tends to p dot name dot to list. This is a link you query. If you are using this link you query, it will translate like products is a variable, and the products table is there. In the product table, like, first he is like using dot where condition with the price of greater than 100. And up to this we will get the records, like we will get the products, like price or greater than 1000 rupees, and order by p dot name. It will return by with the order, like if 1000 above 1000 price, maybe if 100 records are there, it will comes by order, and to list it will return the exact statement. So that is a main use of link queries. If you write this link query using with the C# technologies, it automatically like in the backend like backhood, it will translate SQL that SQL queries to the database, and it will fetch the records, and we will see the output, uh, whatever output see in the database with the using of SQL. Like same with the using of link queries, like in the C sharp, like if we wrote a link queries, same results we will get by assigning these values. This is the link queries. And next, like link to a next one, loading state strangers, like eager loading loads related data in a single query. Eager loading is nothing but loads related data in single query. It nothing but like if you want to, once again, eager loading is nothing but loads related data in a single query. Like it uses dot include, reducing the number of DB calls. Best, and the second point is best. You know, when you know you'll need related data upfront. Like it nothing but eager loading. It loads related data in a single query. It uses with the use of dot include, we will reducing the number of cells in the DB. Uh, Sorry, calls in the calls to DB. Best when you know the uh, what you want the output, at the time we will use eager loading. And this is a one of the example with the using of eager loading. Here I am getting, like here I am written the code as where orders. I want orders, like a context dot orders table dot include o tends to o dot customer dot includes o tends to o dot order items dot then include oi tends to oi dot product dot to list. It means in the SQL, like in the background, select star from orders. It will fetch the records of the orders. To join customer on orders dot customer ID equal to customer ID. Join orders items on order ID, order items dot order ID. Join products on order items dot product ID 10 equal to product dot ID. This is a SQL code, like which we are written in the eager loading concept. If you want to know like what output you the output, whether the output you know, and if you want to use fetch the records, at the time we will use like eager loading. That is a eager loading. And see this multiple joins are there in eager loading, and this is what written in our C# code with the using of link. This is a SQL code converted with this link code. And the next segment is like lazy loading. Loads related data only when accessed. Loads related data only when you accessed. It nothing but loads only related data when you accessed. Requires virtual navigation properties. Can cause n plus 1 query issues if not careful. It nothing but it loads related data only when the accessed. One more time I am repeating, loads related data only when it accessed. Requires virtual navigation properties. It requires virtual navigable properties. It nothing but in the C# class, like we will give it as a name virtual and and it can cause n+1 query issues if you're not careful. Like if you are implementing these queries with the using of lazy loading, we can face the problems with the n+ query issues if you are not carefully writing the queries. This is my class, like orders class, and here I have id and order number and customer, and here I am getting my orders. Context dot orders dot to list only orders loaded, like only what are the order loaded I am fetching. After that I am looping this for each, that where order in orders. Here I am taking as a order as a one variable. In that I am looping and I am getting I am fetching the customer is fetched here, like orders dot customer name, like what are the orders in is I am getting here. I am fetching the name of the customers from the exact orders. um, this is my SQL query. Select star from orders, it's a initial load, and select star from customer where ID equal to order ID. Here if I have 10 orders, each order ID, based on the order ID, order 1 has ordered some XYZ person, and the order 2 has added some ABC person, and order 3 has ordered John, the customer as a John. So that is the difference between eager loading and lazy loading. And no tracking queries. It is a faster related to all queries. Related all queries. It is a faster read only queries, and it is fast queries, like skips change tracking, improve performance. It improves performance, and it skip change tracking. Use you don't know plan to modify data. We will use you don't know plan of modifying data. Here see where products equal to context dot products and dot as no tracking. Dot where p tends to p dot price greater than 100 dot to list. Here completely it skips the change of tracking and improve the performance. It skips the change of tracking. It completely skips the change of tracking, and it improves the performance. Use when you don't know plan the modify data. Here I am with this query where product equal to context dot product dot as no tracking dot where p tends to p dot price greater than 1000 dot to list. This is my thought, like when we are used, and what is the strategy, and what are the use cases, and what is the uh, advantage and what is the disadvantage, like pros and cons. This is a strategy. Eager loading. When you know related data is needed, at the time we will use eager loading. When related data is optional, at the time we will use lazy loading. When you know related data needed, at the time we will use as eager loading. When related data is optional, at the time we will use lazy loading. read only fast queries. It will read only and fast queries. At that time we will use as a no tracking. And advantage of no tracking, better performance. And advantage of lazy loading, loads only when needed. It loads only when needed. And eager loading is few queries. And disadvantage of eager loading is potential overfetching. It will fetch overfetching, and it is a potential overfetching. Lazy loading, we will face n plus 1 query problems if you not write a queries like uh, with proper understanding skills, then we will face a problem n plus 1 query problem. And no change tracking, these are the disadvantage of no tracking. To performance to improve, use eager loading for fixed known relationship. We will use as a eager loading. Avoid lazy loading in loops. We will avoid in the loops like lazy loading. It can hammer in DB. No tracking for only data when you updated are not needed. Optimize with the projection and select only few finds. This is this topic like link queue errors and link queue entities and optimization, and I will mark it as this one as black color because this concept is completed. And we have only 4 topics is left in this day 4: concurrency handling and transactions handling and return policies. Concurrency handling in EF core supports optimization concurrency, meaning it check for change when the data saving to avoid overwriting someone else change. Setting up concurrency token. We will set as a row version property model with the using of timestamp. Here I given as a row version. Optimization concurrency. EF core row version defect conflicts. And second step is handling concurrency exception. Here we will add try and catchy blocks. In the catchy blocks we will get the concurrency values. And transaction, using this transaction single unit, multiple operations succeed, fail or single unit. And the next return policies for failures like network issues, retry helps avoid unnecessary failures. At the time we will use retry policies. The coming about the summary of these 3 like concepts like concurrency handling and transactions and return policies. The purpose of concurrency handling is avoid data conflicts. At the time we will use concurrency handling. And the example of tool row version um, transaction ensuring automatic operations. At the time we will use transactions. Once again, ensuring automatic begin transaction and async commit asyncs rollback syncs. Return policy purpose handling transients failures. Holy enable retry failures. These are the example tool. And the next topic is repository pattern and unit of work patterns. Testable data access logic. The first we will discuss about repository pattern, and the repository and unit of work patterns are great creating testable and decoupled and maintainable data access layer in the .NET Core with entity framework core. Let's dive into the topic with some examples. First, we will discuss about repository pattern. The repository pattern, nothing but it separates the data access layer and business layer. It means the repository pattern abstract the data access logic, provide the clean interface to interact with the database. It separates the data access layer, it separates the business, it separates the data access layer, and it separates the business logic layer. It means like we will create as a in, interface to interact with the data base. Like we will create here I created as an interface I repository where T tends to class. Here I created this thing, and here I implemented my repository pattern, and here this is my repository pattern. Sorry, repository pattern. It separates the data access layer and can abstract the data logic and provide the clean interface interactive database. Here see my old project. This is my previous project with the using of repository pattern only. Here this is my TrueM project, and here I created as my repo. In this repo I implemented authenticate repo. This is my classes, and this is my migrations. This is my context, and here this is my views. But when we coming about a repository pattern, here I am creating iRepo. In the iRepo, I implementing my interface authentication repo, and this is my class. Like what are the class, and this is my repo. Like I implemented authenticated repository with the using of authenticated repo. Like I implemented this authenticated in app repo. This is one of the best example with the using of repository pattern. It separates the data access layer and business layer. It means like a repository pattern. With the using of interface, we will implement repository pattern. And the next, unit of work pattern. The unit of work pattern groups multiple repository operates in the single transaction. The unit of work pattern, it groups the multiple repository operation into a single transaction. Create a unit of work interface. Like it is a group of multiple repository operations in the single transaction. Here I implemented as a one unit of work, and disposable repository product and repository orders task in it. And here my next step is public class, unit of work, and I unit of work, private read. These are my repository, multiple repository, my group repository, and here I implemented these things. And here my second, here using service pattern, and here again, and these are my product service, and here I implemented. And in registered deposit dependency injection, here I implemented builder dot service that add scope I unit of work, comma unit of work, builder dot add scope product service. This example I will cover the very next practice session videos. Uh, I implement one small project with the using of unit of work pattern. Unit of work means multiple repository uh, in a single transaction. At the time we will use the repository pattern, and the testability easy to mock repository and services. Separation of concerns, business logic stays separate from the data access layer. Maintainable, cleaner code structure and easier to extend. Once again, we will repeat repository pattern. Repository pattern is a middle layer between the application logic and data logic. 10 encapsulate access logic. The structure of repository pattern is, this is my AppDB context, and this is my general repository with the card operation, and this is my specific repository, iProduct repository, and this is my service layer business logic, and this is my API endpoints like controllers. Implementing repository pattern just now we saw, and the unit of work is multiple repository work under single transaction. Multiple repository work under single transitions. It means like unit of work. This is my I unit of work, and here I am implementing. Here I have I product repository, and here in program.cs I implemented as this too. And with this example I will implement one project in the exercise demo. Benefits of using benefits of repository using of repository pattern and unit of work patterns. Decouple business logic from data access, easier to test, and ensure data consistency and follow solid principles. The conclusion of repository and unit work pattern provide clean and testable, manage and uh, maintainability and testability. And the very next topic is uh, caching, memory cache and Redis. Caching improves the performance of storing frequently accessed data in the memory instead of repeatedly fetching it from database. It means like instead of fetching the details from the database, like if you are frequently accessing the some data particular data, It will store in memory instead of repeatedly fetching database. It will store frequently accessed data in memory. That is the caching. .NET supports in-memory caching and distributed caching. In-memory caching is nothing but best for single server application. It will best for single server application and store data RAM of application server. It will store the data in application of the server. Works well as small and medium data sets. Setup in memory like caching. We will set as add memory cache in the program.cs. It will store a single server and it store the data in RAM application, RAM of the application server. Works with small, medium, and data sets. It will work like check the cache. If the data is exist, it will return, and if the cache is empty, get from the database. And store the cache. Save with the expiration policy. Caching expiration optimization. Absolutely expiration. The data expires after fixed time, and data resets expiration of each time accessed. And the next topic is Redis caching. The Redis caching is nothing but distributed caching. One of the best example of distributed caching is Redis caching. Best multi-server application. It is best for multi-server application and store the data in Redis. Fast and no SQL and key value store. Works well and large data sets and microservices. It works well and large data sets and microservices. Store in Redis in memory and no SQL. It will store fast. These are the steps to install implement NuGet package. First, we will install Redis on Docker. Docker run name Redis cache d port number 63787 d Redis. Step 2, install Redis package. The .NET Core .NET add package Microsoft extension caching stack exchange Redis. We need to configure in our program.cs add stack exchange Redis cache options tends to our application. This is the implementation of product service. This distributed cache, I will create a project distributed cache and unit of work pattern in a exercise video. This is a comparison of in-memory versus Redis caching. Scope of in-memory caching is local, but Redis caching is distributed, and performance faster in-memory cache because it will store RAM, slightly slower network calls, and scalability of in-memory cache is limited as a single server. But coming about Redis caching, scales across the multiple server and persist of in-memory cache last of restart. If you restart our application server, we'll lose the data, but it can persist data. Use case small application single instance. In-memory caching will use small application and single instance, but Redis caching is used large application and cloud and microservices. This is a catchy explanation and invalidation strategy. The strategy of time-based expiration catchy expires after the set of time, absolutely sliding. Manual invalidation catchy cleared when the data save either save changes. Dependency based catchy individual details items. This is catchy in memory and out distributed catching. And once again we will repeat like our day 4 link you entity optimization, eager and lazy loading and node tracking. Eager loading is load related data along with main entity. Eager loading is nothing but load related data and along with main entity in a single query using dot include. Lazy loading loads related entities only when the access the first time. Load only related data only when it the first time. Explicitly loading loads related entities manually using dot load method. Now tracking queries improves the performance by the not tracking entities in the DB construct. In the concurrency in concurrency handling we have two types like optimization concurrency and persistence concurrency. Optimization concurrency we will use a row version and persistent catchy we will use uh, logs and records prevent conflicts but reflect performance. This is like day 4 link you to entity queries completed and concurrency handling we covered and repository pattern and unit of work pattern we completed. Repository pattern with the example we covered and unit of work we covered explanation multiple repository in a single transaction, and that is called as a repository unit of work pattern. But we will cover the unit of work pattern project in our exercise video, and we covered catching in memory and out memory catching and redises. We covered uh, catching mechanism, and we covered API with entity framework, repository pattern, handling relationship. We practiced, we created a separate application, and in the next exercise session I will make like entity framework with repository pattern and with unit of work is a separate video for exercise and distributed catchy, redis catchy also. And this is day 4, and in we'll discuss day 5 for coming up next topics, and hope all you have revised day 1 and day 2, day 3, day 3 sessions. And this is .NET Core 0 to Hero series, and almost we covered off portions, and we have a pending like advanced topics like solid principles and designs patterns, and those concepts we have left. And this is care tech, and please subscribe this video and like this video. And if you have any queries and if you want to any supports in the technical aspect, and any if you want to crack any interview, if you want to any help, please feel to reach me and comment section. Please write your query, and I will give a response within 1 hour. And if you are a premier member, please visit our site and please write your queries, and I will help to improve your technical skills as aspect use. Thank you all. Have a good day. Bye bye.